Deeper Online.
I think Cougars are getting a bit overzealous with their ambitions with younger guys, as if younger guys actually want to get married to them and do stuff with them. Like, come on, bro. They just want that check. Let's get directly into it.
Y'all not gonna believe this, but I've got a story to tell you. It's gonna be a little long-winded, so get yourself a seat and get your glass of wine.
That popcorn, nigga.
All right. Many of you keep asking me about, am I divorced? When was I married? How long have I been single? That sort of thing. Well, I'm about to tell you. And not all of this is pretty, okay? But I'm hoping that you'll hear this through the end.
Keep it a buck, Reaper gang. Y'all hitting that off too Hennessy? Like, keep it a buck. Like, or is that too? Never mind. I ain't even gonna go there.
And you'll see that shit happens sometimes. Sometimes it happens to the best of us, okay? So this is what happened. Yes, I am divorced. Now, let's talk about when it happened. It happened during the pandemic. Let's go back for a minute and let me give you a little bit of the backstory. If you are interested in more about the guy and how this relationship worked out, I do have a video pinned at the top. The guy that I'm talking about buying the bracelet, that is this guy, okay? So
I gotta tap into
what
that.
happened was, before the pandemic, all right, I was dating like I am now, and I had met this guy, and he was a gentle enough giant, you know, big fella, kind-hearted, but a little, just not my intellectual equal by any means.
Not the sneak dissing. Why would you get married? Why would you even get with a guy that's not your intellectual equal? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try to hide them cougar intentions. I'm watching you.
But he was very accommodating and very happy to be hanging out with me. And I was frustrated with all the nitwit men that I had met and the guys who wanted you to have a big fat career, but they wanted you to be home every night cooking pork chops and biscuits. And I was like, are you kidding?
Pork chops and biscuits. That's how you get down, Grandma. I ain't gonna hold you. I might have to reduce the 2 Hennessy's to 1 Hennessy before the Big Reaper, you know. And I'm not trying to be no freakazoid, but hey, them biscuits though, you know how I be about
this. Both
this.
aren't going to happen. I was just frustrated with the whole dating scene, and I got tired of it, and so I kind of settled. And I thought, well, they ain't hurting nothing. This guy, I got nothing better to do. So it wasn't, I guess honestly, I was just kind of killing time. Well, so I've been dating this guy.
You was trying to get that young car. Stop!
And he'll do whatever. I mean, he'll go get my lunch and bring it to my job. He worked, but not really. And I worked all the time. And so it just got comfortable. It got comfortable. I certainly cared about this person. And I mean, we got along fine because he liked everything I did. But one of the reasons that he liked everything I did is because I paid for everything.
Well, when you try to be a sugar mama and a cougar, these are your penalties. I mean, what you thought? You was just going to get some nice young meat for free? I mean, ain't nobody trying to, excavate that dust box without proper compensation.
And so we're going along. It's all fine. So it's almost like I got a personal assistant, right? I mean, it's not even like a boyfriend. It's like a personal assistant. But I'm happy. He's happy. Now, the people around me, my friends and my coworkers, and certainly my boss was on me about this, something terrible. And people would say they would see us somewhere together. And the people who knew me and knew me for a long time would always pull me aside and go, how in the hell did the two of you, He's a nice enough.
So you have people around you in your ear and sneak dissing. Did you let your husband know at any chance, or did you keep that to yourself and just keep it pushing? I'm curious.
Yeah, but he kind of dumb. And I was like, no, he's good-hearted, not to worry about it. So I was aware that we were a very odd couple, but I was happy. I don't care. I mean, things are happening, moving along smoothly, and I'm fine.
Notice how she using slippery language too and saying an odd couple and not her intellectual equal. I mean, no shit. When you dating a nigga 20 years younger than you and shit because you want that young stallion, my nigga, of course not. But just keep it a buck, Grandma. Let's stop that.
And so we had been dating for a while and it was all good. Well, then the damn pandemic happened. And I discovered that this old boy wasn't as dumb as I thought he was. This is what happened. So the pandemic happened and we ended up in the same house. And, we're just doing just like you. We don't know what's going on. We just
ended up. No glizzy, no nothing. And I'm not trying to bring it back here, but I just feel like she's underselling, the cougar aspect of this and just trying to make it seem like it didn't work. Everything points to cougarism right here. Come on.
So now we're living together. because the pandemic has put this in this, and it's moving along smooth. Everything's going great. Now, I want to put into here the info that over the months and months that we had been dating, he continually was asking me to marry him. Well, I knew I was not going to marry this man. I was certainly content in the relationship as it was, but I was not going to marry this man. And so I was like, no. And he took it with a grain of salt. And he, about every 60 days or so, he'd do a big production and ask me to marry him.
You know she got bread too. Ain't nobody cashing in on that old punani unless, and I'm gonna keep it 100. Them cougars normally got money. She looked like the type of cougar that got money. She looked like an assistant principal at a well-off school type shit. Like she just in there.
Every 6 days or so, I would say no. So he finally learned to stop doing it in public because I was not going to say yes. And it's all fine. And I certainly soothed his feelings and his emotions about, I don't need to be married. I'm not ready to be married. I don't want to be married. And, we're fine the way we are. And he accepted that. Well, now the pandemic's happened and it's just him and I. And I'm working from home and I'm trying this and trying that. And he worked. He was considered an essential worker. So he worked a couple days a week. And so he would go and he would leave and he had a
Most niggas not getting away with that. I ain't gonna lie. If I tried to get with a girl right now, I only worked a couple days a week, this wouldn't work unless it's it's an older lady type shit. I don't want to use that type of language, but unless it was the older lady type shit, would be the only way that a dude would be able to do this. So it's like, what you set up. So I'm not understanding the
company
complaints.
Vehicle. So he would drive his truck to their office. He'd get his company vehicle. He'd go do his job. And then he'd go back and get his company vehicle and come home, right? And home being at the same address as me. We're playing house here during the pandemic. Again, this happened during the pandemic. So I want some of y'all to put that bit of info in this story, okay? Nothing was open. You couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't be around other people. Well, of course, during this
pandemic was a crazy time. I ain't gonna hold you. So any lapses, adjustments that she could have made during the pandemic, I'm not holding that against her. I understand.
And I'm like, no, not changing. Well, I'm discovering that during the pandemic, you can't go do anything anyway. People couldn't get married. People couldn't go on vacation. They couldn't go anywhere. There was very limited travel, very limited. You couldn't go to a hotel. Hotels were closed. It was just all crazy, right? Don't you remember? Well, one night, we'd had a good week. Everything was good. And I was just feeling real soft-hearted and tender. And he'd asked me, during pillow talk.
Why was you feeling soft-hearted and tender? Oh, that pillow talk. Oh, okay. Okay, what was getting tenderized, Grandma? Yo, freaky. I know it.
Were you laying, daydreaming about what we're going to do someday? And he said, I want to be married. And I said, well, we could probably do that someday. We can. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking we're not going to be doing it anytime soon because the damn world's shut down. The world is shut down. I mean, we can't go get married. He says, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah, someday. And I'm thinking, if we've survived this pandemic together and everything, maybe when this is all over with, maybe we'll run off to Vegas and get married by Elvis. I might.
Oh, Vegas and Elvis, man, that would have had me locked in. Shit, if that pandemic would have lasted 6 years, I would have been in that bitch waiting patiently for my time. Because once these 6 years is up, you better believe I'm going to Vegas and getting spoiled. Come on, man. He probably called his people like, shit, did you hear that shit? I get through this shit with this dust box right here, my nigga. We in. Nigga trying to save his family. You gotta respect the grind.
Really consider this at this point. But that's as far as I've really said, meant it. And so I'm saying this not in jest. I'm not saying it joking, but I'm saying it as a distant thought. Not like we're going to get married and let's do it tomorrow and let's pick a date. I'm not there. Well, so this conversation goes on and he's happy as he can be. And I think, I've made this man happy. He does all these things. He caters to everything that if I want, he just caters to everything. But again, one of the reasons he catered to everything I want, because I was paying for everything.
So why are you bringing this up? Why are you bringing this shit to TikTok if you did it? What'd you think you was going to get? A younger dude and not pay for nothing? I mean, even older guys, if they want a younger girl significantly, they're going to have to pay for it. I don't know what you thought was going to happen there. I don't get that.
All's good. The next day, we've had this pillow talk. The next day, he goes to work and he calls me at about 10:30, quarter to 11 in the morning. He says, hey, let's go get some lunch. Now, going to get lunch during a pandemic was going to a drive-through, getting some food in a styrofoam box and going home and eating it, right? Because you couldn't go inside a restaurant. So I said, yeah, sure. So he says, all right, well, you get my truck and come pick me up. He said, at the office parking lot, because he's got the company vehicle. And I said, sure. So I get in his pickup truck and I drive to his work. And he pulls in the parking lot with the company vehicle. He gets out. He gets in his truck. I get in the passenger seat, and we drive. He says, we got to go over here. We got to make another errand. We got to make another stop. I said, oh, okay. So I'm not really paying attention. I'm playing on my phone in my hand in the passenger seat. We drive up to the bank, Ameris Bank. We drive up to the bank drive-through. I don't think nothing of this. I don't know what this man's got to do. I don't know. And he pulls out his work clipboard thing, and he pulls out some paperwork, and he puts it in the thing, the window. The girls inside the window. Now all of a sudden there's like 9 women, all in mask in this big glass window, looking in the truck. And I don't know. I mean, I just think, well, I guess it's a slow day, right? So he gets the paper back out and he says, I need you to sign this. I said, oh, okay. I don't know what it is. I'm not looking at it. I'm not really paying attention. So I sign it and I give it back to him. I said,
stop. Cut that shit out. Cut that shit out. You way too old and experienced to know. You ain't just signing no shit without looking at it. Come on. You just mentioned Vegas. You mentioned getting married in Vegas. Come on. You paying for everything. What'd you think that nigga was going to do? Come on, bro. You telling me? And this is anybody. Any guy or girl, when are we signing papers without analyzing any of it at the bank? Nah, something not adding up here. Either you was intentionally oblivious, or that the niggas you date might not be nitwits, and you might be the nitwit, like you said earlier.
What is that? He said it has to be notarized, and I said, oh, okay. And I wait, what are we notarizing? By now, he stuck it back in the window, and it's back in the bank. And I don't know what it is, and we're talking about something else. I'm on to talking about something else because this is unimportant to me. And it should have been, but it wasn't at that time. So a few minutes later, the window pops open, he gets it back, and
y'all niggas better not say she a cat lady neither. I seen that cat, but I gotta see 2 more different cats before I call her a cat lady. I love cats, so just one ain't gonna make you no cat lady over here.
All these women in that window in their mask, and they're clapping. They're all standing beside each other, clapping. And I thought, what the hell is going on? He says, give me a kiss. And I said, huh? What? And he leans over and pulls me to him, and he kisses me. And they clapping and cheering, and now the speaker's on, and they're going, congratulations, congratulations.
Nigga, we going to Vegas. Fuck is you talking about? You talking about Vegas getting married in front of Elvis or some shit like that? I don't know what that means, but it sounds affluent. The big rig would have been at that goddamn notarization place too trying to do that shit.
What the hell? He drives off, and I'm like, what's happened? He said, that was our marriage license. I said, oh, an application for a license. I said, what? He said, I've had it. He said, I've had that the whole time. I said, where did that come from? He said, I've had it. I've had it from the first time I asked you to marry me. I said, what? Well, this truck is headed downtown now, and downtown Dothan. And I said, where are we go? What do you mean?
Are y'all buying this stupid act? Are you buying the fact that you seen 9 people at the bank, signed the forms without looking, heard the clap, and didn't stop the car, didn't do nothing? If you really didn't want to do this, get married to this nigga. Why wouldn't you stop any of that, nigga? I know a lot of women that watch this channel that would have rolled out that car like prime James Bond. Don't give me that shit. You wanted that young cock.
It was just a marriage application, right? And he said, no, it was our marriage license. So what? Y'all, you got to hear part 2. OMG.
Oh, let's get it. We turned up. We invested, nigga. Come on. Let's get to it.
All right, y'all. You're not going to believe this, but this is
part 2, baby. We only do this type of shit at Reaper Gang, nigga. Big stories all the time. Multiple parts. I'll be putting this shit together. Let's get it.
Part 2. Are you ready? All right, they're getting married during the pandemic. If you haven't seen part 1, please go back and watch it. And if you want a little more of the backstory, there's a video pinned, more about the guy. So we're driving off from the bank. And I really don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happening. And so I'm asking, we're headed downtown Dothan. I don't know, maybe we're headed to the restaurant. So where we're heading is also not important to me. I am now stuck on what the hell was that went in the bank window. So I said, what was that? And I'm processing around. I'm thinking, I thought I witnessed.
You asking the same question. This nigga done told you 5 times in front of the bankers, in front of everybody, in front of Zeus. Why do you keep asking that? Rescind it if you don't like
his
it.
signature to something he needed notarized. That's what I thought I was signing. I was just witnessing his signature to something being notarized. I did not grasp what was happening. So I'm in shock and a panic in the passenger seat, and I'm frantic. What do you mean that was a marriage license? What do you mean? He said, yeah, no. And he's happy as he can be. And he says, we're married. He said, you are now my wife. And I said, no. He said, yeah. I said, what do you mean? I said, where did that come from? There's no county office open to you to get a marriage license. Where did that come from? And he said, I told you, I've had it the whole time.
I'm not gonna lie, he premeditated that whole thing. As soon as you said it, either before, I think he knew you had money from the jump. I ain't gonna lie. Because you look like you got money and you talking about stuff like Vegas and shit like that. What'd you expect him to do? You shouldn't have said that V word. You should have said we can get married in the backyard. As soon as you said Vegas, a nigga like me would have been jumping
our
at that.
license. I just, you never said yes until now. And he's telling me he's excited and happy, but I'm in a absolute effing panic. I am frazzled trying to get this to reconcile in my head what has just happened. And so he pulls up downtown near one of the courthouse. There's a mailbox outside, and it's like a drop box. And he pulls up to it, and he opens his truck window, and I'm still asking, what do you mean it was a marriage license? We're not married. No, we're not.
It sounds a bit too inquisitive and not aggressive enough. I'm not telling you to be like illegally aggressive, but if you don't want to get married to somebody and they submitting papers without your knowledge or setting up shit behind your back, you got to put more pushback than this. And we're going to assume that you actually like that you actually wanted that.
Married, he said, yes, we are. He opened that drop box out the driver's window and put an envelope in that paper in there. And I said, what was that? What are you doing now? And I'm realizing I'm out downtown near the courthouse, and I'm at a drop box from the city. And I said, what was that? He said, I talked to them this morning. They told me that they would record it for me. I just need to drop it in this box after we had it notarized. I said, what? I said, get it out of there.
Nah, this changed my mind. The dude that she got married to that submitted those papers, I got to lock in because I might not be on my bag as much as he is. He is locked and loaded. There is nothing that Miss Kentucky Fried Chicken could have said. And I'm saying that, and I know I shouldn't be cracking no jokes like this, but she do look like Colonel Sanders' twin. And I just had to say it, but I don't blame him for doing that whatsoever. Like, I got to get on that and be locked in just like, bro, I have to.
Off, and I'm like, no. He said, you're just panicked. He said, you're married now. You're married to me. You're my wife. And I thought, oh, fuck. What am I? No. And I'm in an absolute tizzy. And he gets me back to his company parking lot, and he gets out of the truck. I said, wait a minute, no, we need to fix this. We need to go back and get that. He says, no, honey. He says, I love you, and you're my wife. You're just panicked. He said, I'll talk to you when I get home, okay? And he shuts the door, and I'm sitting now in the passenger seat of this truck running, and he gets in the company vehicle and drives off. I thought, what the hell?
So you're saying from the bank, all the steps y'all took after the bank, he didn't stop? Like, this isn't any stops in between this? He took you to the bank, took you to the restaurant, took you there. This is a man on a mission that cannot be stopped. I don't even think if the grand creator came down himself, pointed a 2025 ray gun at his head like the prime sniper, it would change anything. He's that locked in. I ain't gonna hold you.
I don't know what to do. So I don't even know what to do. So I sat there for about 10 minutes, just absolute in a stupor. And I finally reconciled this in my head and thought, I'm the one who said last night, yes, I'd get married.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. Did she just say last night? I thought some time elapsed. She said last night. So you mean this nigga did all that the next day? Yeah, he about that bag. I ain't gonna hold you. He's about that bag. He's about that bag, for sure. He ain't waste no time.
Well, maybe this was just...
Not even 24 hours and that nigga had her lined up at the bank like she committed a motherfucking crime, nigga.
Universe, putting me... I said it. This is what's meant to happen. We get along good. Okay. I drove home just kind of shocked. I got home, I got out of the truck, I went in the house, and I thought, What the fuck? I opened the fridge, no beer.
You ever see somebody complaining and they secretly like it? Like, everyone that's watching this channel right now, if someone did this to you and got married against your will and that's not what you wanted, would you let it rock or would you voice your complaints? Matter of fact, at the bank, stop the paperwork from going in, knock on the window and get it. Like, let's cut the bullshit. You wanted that young bull, and yes, he didn't do it the way you wanted, but deep down, you wanted to get married to that nigga or you would have said no. Like, let's not play the victim card. Like, this ain't what you wanted. You wanted to feel young again. And this is the price it's going to take. I ain't going to hold you.
I dug all through the top of the cabinets above the refrigerator, finally found some alcohol. I made myself a really strong drink. About 2 drinks later, I was asleep on the sofa. I woke up to him coming in the front door and talking, and I just thought, okay, this has happened. Maybe this was meant to be. I'm going to find the silver lining in this.
And he might have set the record for the quickest marriage conversion of all time. This nigga moving like Prime Flash. This nigga motherfucking using the speed force at its maximum capacity. This nigga kinetic energy is combined with his velocity to create the ultimate force. This nigga got all of this shit done in a day, bruh. In a day. Ain't no nigga alive on his bag more than that. I ain't gonna hold you.
So this went on for, I don't know, maybe 90 days, about 90 days. And I have called, I've asked questions, I've called every attorney, I've called the courthouse, I've called and quizzed trying to be anonymous, right? And so, what can I do about it? Is there anything? Is it legal? Did that get recorded? You know, what? And I've asked all these questions quietly, silently to myself. I have made all these phone calls. I'm not telling him that. And he's just as happy. He's like marching around on.
Why not? This is what partnership is about. If you weren't okay with him forcing you or tricking you into a marriage, why the hell would you let it go through? Why do it behind? Why not just have that conversation at the bank window? Am I missing something, Reaper Gang? Somebody please let me know if I'm missing something.
Cloud 9, and I thought to give someone else that kind of happiness, I guess maybe that makes me a better person. Okay. Well, then the pandemic's coming to a wrap, an end. And it's not ending, but we're getting used to it, and everyone's trying their damnedest to go back to work and everything. So I go back to work.
So do you think she really went through that marriage because she wanted to be a good person, or she was enjoying that young Lizzie? Just let me know in the chat.
And this is where the story gets a little haywire. Even more so, like it was already haywire. I'm going to post part 3 about
Let's get it.
How this unraveled, and it was still during the pandemic. Okay, and how I got this marriage undone. So remember now, we've been married about 90 days, and everything's going.
That shit sound like 90 Day Fiance type. I ain't even gonna hold you. It sounded more and more like cougarism as this story unfolds. 90 days, all that.
I don't have any complaints, and then I got a shock one morning when I went back to work. Part 3 I will post, and this next part is. You think that was shocking? You ain't heard nothing yet, sis.
I gotta critique old dude. While he made the perfect plays with precision to get this cougar. I get it. There's a lot of cougar hunters out here. He jumped the gun too quick. She mentioned Vegas. This nigga got the whole thing converted. If he would have played his cards right a little bit more, you probably could have got that and some. I feel like he was a bit overzealous with that marriage for sure. He got too excited. A broke nigga that not working here in Vegas, them niggas gonna go crazy.
Y'all are not gonna believe this, but this is part 3 of this story of this pandemic marriage coming unraveled. Now, first off, I want to go ahead and address something. I bet a lot of y'all are asking, what was I thinking? Was I pissed? Was I angry? Did we fight and argue about this? We didn't. And here's the reason we didn't. Because I already knew that I wore the pants in this relationship. You know what I mean? I was the decision maker in this relationship. So
you a dominant cougar. You just like to strap niggas down and have them tell you secrets and shit. Something about you, nigga. In your prime, let me stop.
And I am a self-accountable person. So I hold myself accountable when things aren't going right, just like when things are going good. I want to take credit for it. I know that when things aren't going right, I've got to take some credit for the fault. So 90 days in, it was moving along all fine in this marriage, and I thought maybe this was for the best. You know, the truth is, I'm as happy as I can be. I mean, I got this guy who gophers around, does anything I want, and I'm having to foot the bill, but because of the pandemic, I was struggling footing the bill.
So your selfish ambitions ultimately led to your demise. And that's the thing about being selfish. Everything is good. And I'm surprised I got to tell you this, Grandma. Come on now. Everything is good in bits and pieces, but doing too much of something is never good. And you were overzealous as well. You knew this nigga wasn't shit. He didn't have no money in his account. Probably slanging that shit, making you feel young again, and you lost sight of the main goal, which was if your old ass was gonna get married at your age, it should be someone who's a lot more sustainable than this shit. You can't have it both ways.
Because I wasn't working as much, I wasn't making as much. It was time for my tail to go back to work. So I went back to work, and it is still the pandemic. Well, I go to work, and everything's fine. Well, there is this one gal. Listen carefully. There's this one gal in the office, and she doesn't work directly with me, but she works in the office. And anytime I go in the main office to do any paperwork or whatever, she's in there, and she's telling a story about how she's got a hickey. She's a grown woman my age, and she's got to get it covered up before she goes home because her sugar daddy gave her the hickey, and if her live-in boyfriend finds out, this, that. And so every day at work, she's talking about doing some unladylike activity.
I can't stand people who come to work, and I'm gonna say God, because girls aren't gonna say it to me, but at work, guys be on that shit like, hey, bro, I don't care where your cock has been. Shut up and let's get to work and finish the day. I feel you on that one, Grandma, for real.
Just not the kind of gal that I want to be running with, but I work with her, and she works fine. She's a good worker, but during this time, I still run a jewelry business, right? My side hustle. So every once in a while, she's got this jewelry emergency. And she'd call me at home and she'd say, hey, can I come by? I want to buy this. I need it. I can't live without it. I got to have. And every time she'd come in my house, of course, we're social distancing and the best we can. She's only there for a minute. And she'd come in and she'd rub her hand.
Man, if her husband was double dipping between two old ass co-workers, this nigga might be the greatest of all time. I personally wouldn't do it. Old Punani's not my forte. Not that old. When I say I'm a cougar connoisseur, I don't mean Colonel Sanders level. I'm talking about Kelly Rowland level type shit, but hey.
And down the back of my soul, ooh, I just love this sofa. And every little knick-knack on the way to my shop in my house, she's got to touch every damn thing. Ooh, I love this little knick-knack. Oh, I love this. Ooh, I love that. Oh, and she'd see my tea kettle. Oh, I love that. Just every damn thing. And I thought, this girl never seen nothing. I mean, and so I had said to him, she makes me crazy. I said, she act like she never seen nothing before. I mean, she act like she's at the Vegas Strip seeing some sparkly lights and she just looking at some damn knickknacks that I got at, the dollar store, the Dollar General. I don't know.
Okay, so your husband serving cock like it's crack in the 80s, nigga. He got them cougars on their knees looking at upholsteries and shit. What could he possibly be doing? Hey, if this nigga made a goddamn Patreon or some shit, giving cougar smashing techniques, that shit probably go triple platinum in the hood. I ain't gonna hold you.
And he was like, oh, well, she just likes you. She just really likes you. And I was like, she makes me crazy. But I'm being polite to her because now she's not only a coworker, she is a customer in my jewelry business. So I'm not thinking nothing of it. One morning I go into work, but he's been acting funny for a couple of days and keeping quiet. And I ain't asked him because the truth is I'm trying to go back to work. I'm working again, long hours.
And women do move snaky like that amongst their friends. Like I've had girls tell me that, oh yeah, she fucked with my business or whatever and was looking around, but she was just trying to do that to get closer to my man. So all my ladies that got business out there and stuff like that, be careful of them friends that's trying to invest in your business so they can come around your man a little bit more. It be like that out here. It really do. And guys do it too, but everyone knows that. We know this.
And I've only been at work like 10 days. So when she came in, I said, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And she's, yeah, sure. I wanted to talk to you too, Dolly. I really wanted to talk to you too. And I said, okay. She's, let's go over here. So we walk on the other side of the showroom and we're standing there. And she says, Dolly, I want you to know I really am your friend. I said, my friend? She said, yeah. I said, okay, sure. I said, yeah. And she said, I said, well, what is, she's, no, you go first. I said, no, because I'm thinking, let's get this baby daddy, boyfriend, sugar daddy bullshit story out of the way so I can get back to work, right? Now, I want to interject that
I love how you can hear just the certain undertones of freak. She won't use that type of language a lot, but when she does, it just makes me think of her prime.
That he was acting funny about for a few days. he had gotten quite quiet. He said to me, he said, I think that I want to move to Georgia. And I said, oh, okay. I'm not moving to Georgia. He said, well, maybe I'll move by myself. I said, oh, okay. Why are you moving to Georgia? And he said, well, I'm not. I just wanted to talk about it. I said, okay. He said, well, I think I can get a better job up there. And the way he was delivering this to me felt like he had to...
You getting hit with that Africa method. That's what them African niggas be doing. They'll come out here, they'll marry you. But shit, get them niggas about a month so they can get settled, get their family back out there and shit. Them niggas gonna want to relocate.
Under secret, an undertone of something suspicious going on. I wasn't alarmed by it. I just thought, oh, maybe he's come to his damn senses too, that this marriage is ridiculous.
Nah, don't try to play that shit off like you didn't want the marriage and he's coming to it. You sat there and did it for 90 days. If you didn't want it, you would have been at the bank like, hell no. You wanted that young cock. Stop.
I had to go to work. So that was the end of that conversation. But I had made some phone calls and I had called an attorney and I had said, hey, if my pandemic husband, and I explained a little bit this, and then I said, if he leaves, what will happen if I want to annul or divorce? And he said to me, you're going to have to get a divorce. He said, but I really can't discuss this with you until you sign a document for me, given, that attorney-client privilege something. And I said, okay, well, email it to me. He said, no. He said, husbands and wives are notorious for having each other's passwords and things. He said, and what you're telling me is that you and he have not discussed a divorce. There's not been any argument or anything. I said, no. So this is, if you want to keep this on the down low, he said...
all my married people out there, is this how it works? I've never been married before, but I thought divorce is something you discuss with your partner first, or is divorce something you pull the gun on first and you got to beat your partner to the punch? Let me know, because I don't know anything about this. Let the big reaper know.
Would rather you didn't use your home computer. I said, well, send it to my phone. He said, do you and him share a phone plan? I said, yeah, it's my phone plan. It's mine. And he said, doesn't matter. He's got access. He said, I'd really rather you use like your office computer or go to the public library and use that computer. He said, I'll send you the form. You sign it and send it back to me. And I said, all of this covert? He said, it's necessary. I said, no, I don't think anything would be ugly. He said, yeah, everybody's happy until the paperwork starts flying.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So that is what I wanted to speak to this girl at work about. I wanted to ask her, we had intranet in the office, but we didn't have internet externally out. And I didn't know the password because I never needed it. So I knew she knew the password. She says, Dolly, I really am sorry. I really am sorry. I said, okay, well, what are we sorry about? Tell me what you've done. And she said, I told him not to leave you. I told him. You told what? I told him, Dolly, I don't want to take your husband. I don't.
Wow. See, now, I done been, this a whole different situation, Grandma. Now, I know it's done been a little minute, but you gonna have to start knucking till you bucking. If you need somebody to do that, the Big Reaper can do it for free. If you watching this video, let me know where she at. I got a few fat bitches that'll knock her sonic rings out of goddamn head. Just kidding, YouTube. That was totally satire.
Huh? And she reached out to put her hand on my shoulder. Now, I know what kind of a tramp she is. So, and him being married or me being her coworker wouldn't interfere with her decision making at all, because her morals are at the bottom of the tier of options. And I stepped back. I was stunned to hear this. Stunned. You hear me? Effing stunned. And I stepped back.
Did you really think that dust box was going to keep that nigga loyal? Like, stop. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I get it that you want to feel young again, but you got to be honest about that, about them yams. Like, duh. What you think? Like, you thought this shit was going to be sweet and rainbows, nigga? You can't buy a husband. And I haven't said this up until this point, but you really can't. Age doesn't matter, the age. You can't buy a husband. I don't give a fuck if you're paying for everything. You can't buy physical attraction. You can't buy loyalty. Doesn't give a fuck. Niggas will just eat off of that and do their thing, as you can see.
And I said, you what? And I have a face mask on, but I tell you, my mouth was hanging open.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped back and I thought, what in the hell have I landed in the Twilight Zone? And she reached for my shoulder to put her hand on me in a condoling, sympathetic way. And I stepped back.
Whoa, so she gonna fuck your man and then put her hand on your shoulder? Oh, no, we not. No, we not. That's like, hey, all my fella, that's like if a dude smash your girl and say, hey, bro, it's all right, I ain't mean it. Nigga, I wish a nigga would, boy. I'm crashing out.
I said, you are not my friend. And I turned around, I walked straight to my desk. I got my purse out of my desk drawer. I didn't say jack shit to nobody.
Yes, ma'am.
I walked out the back door of that building. I got in my car and I drove to my house. And I sat on my sofa for about 3 or 4 minutes and my doorbell rang. And I thought, oh, if you followed me home, home. And I got up and I walked out there and my dearest, bestest friend that God sent to me was there.
Oh, that's the
in
good
the
thing
window
right there.
at the front door. And I thought, oh, I could not possibly explain this to her. What is she doing here? And I opened the door.
If it's about to sound crazy, but if I worked with her and I seen that incident go down, I would have been at her front door with dick in a box. You got to take your mind off of this, and I could really do that for you. And this is just a hypothetical. It's not me being secretly freaky or nothing.
And
like that.
I said, hun, what are you doing here? And she said, I don't know. She said, I had no reason to be over here. She said, I was driving down the street, she said, and I passed the entrance to your subdivision. She said, and I don't know. She said, something just come over me. I don't know why I'm here. I said, huh? And she said, are you okay? I said, no, I'm not, but what do you need? And she said, I said, come on in. She said, I don't need anything. She said, I swear to you, Dolly, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here.
Hey, man, if you can get one of those in your life, that's all you really need. You don't need a big circle. If you can get one friend like that, because good friends can sense when something is off, and they'll come check on you without you asking. So shout out to her friend. Shout out to her friend.
She said,
keep those next to you.
Something, I don't know. I got possessed by something, was told I had to come here, and here I am. And I turn around, and by now, tears are running down my face. And she said, oh, she put her arms around me and hugged me. I'm tearing up now because the love of a friend, and it had to have been God that interfered to put her there. She come in, she sat down, I told her the whole thing, and she said, I hate that son of a bitch. And I said, no.
Imagine two old ladies in the house just talking about how dude ain't shit. I would have walked up in there with that pizza box and hey, did anyone order?
I don't know what to do. I could not believe that he would, of all people, would cheat. And with that trash, part 4 is being posted.
Ooh, we can meet like that again. Let me stop, bro. I swear I ain't crushing on this all day. I swear to God, I'm not.
Y'all are not going to believe this, but let me tell you what happened. All right, so we've been married, tricked at the bank. We're back at work. He's now told me that he's thinking about moving to Georgia by himself. I'm suspecting that he's come to his senses, and that he should probably have someone that absolutely loves and adores him in his life, because I just like him. I care about him, but not.
That's what I don't agree with, Grandma. Stop downplaying like you didn't like that glizzy, like you didn't like it. You saw this nigga basically trick you into a marriage and you let it go. You didn't, 3 months in, you let that shit go. If you really just liked the nigga, you don't get married to somebody you like. You was fucking with that shit. And it's okay. You're not in the wrong here, but I think you were just a bit overzealous with this one.
You know, I want everyone deserves to have someone who absolutely loves and adores them, right? And he loved and adored me, but he probably adored my checkbook more than he did me, but he treated me fine. I didn't have any complaints.
Bingo. Duh, that's Cougar life. Them niggas want that check. Sugar mama life. They want that check.
Until I had some complaints. And so this gal from work and all her huzzy behavior, right? Apparently, as soon as this all comes unraveled, she dropped him like a hot potato within 48 hours of me speaking up about this with him and telling him, you get your shit, get out of my house. And he went back to his mama's house, which is right where I found him originally, was living at his mama's house.
Okay, so again, you're not in the wrong, but you kind of are. What part of this nigga said, let's get together, let's live together, and let's get married? The only thing that I could possibly conclude is that you wanted that young cock and you got scammed. You got motherfucking finesse. What you thought a young nigga was gonna get in that dusty ass V and just stay there? Not stop. Just cut it out.
He goes back to his mama's house, and instantly she drops him like a hot potato. She don't want nothing to do with him anymore. She thought it was all cool and fun to steal someone's husband because she gets some kind of narcissistic, ugly girl power boost out of being the one that she cheats, that people would cheat on with, whatever you want to call it. I don't understand it because I don't do that.
It's funny how the mistress is always ugly. You'll never hear a married woman saying, yeah, she was like that. She always ugly, fat. I'm like, man, if a nigga risking everything, risking this life, that Vegas, or what he would have got with you, she might not have been as ugly as you let on.
But, and I knew that she was that way because we had another coworker that she had messed around with that woman's husband, and that woman ended up getting a divorce and didn't know to this day. Well, maybe to this day she does know, but at that particular time she didn't know that it was her right there in her face every day at work that had actually slept with, or tried to sleep with, the husband. And I guess the husband
wouldn't know try.
But anyway, I don't know. The whole nother story. But she had done this similar thing to another coworker, but the other coworker had never found out about it. She knew that the husband had cheated, but she didn't know with who. I knew. And shame on me, I kept that secret. And you see how karma comes back. I had kept that secret from that other coworker. And now the one I kept the secret for, not like she asked me to, I just kept it because I'm not getting mixed up in that bullshit. It happened before my time and it ain't got nothing to do with me. And that was the only reason I kept it. But do you see? You see how karma bites you in the ass? So, but this girl now.
So you happened to you. I mean, you should have never done that.
She knows that this old boy ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, and he's back at his mama's house. She don't want nothing to do with him. Every time she was coming in my house, she'd run her hand down my side. Oh, I just love this. Ooh, this is so pretty. Ooh, I love it. And she would say to me endlessly, oh, he treats you so good. This beautiful house. And
that's what they be wanting. These girls will look at what you got and want it. They be looking at your man, looking at your life, thinking that they single. So you gotta be careful, man. Make sure you putting in two true friends around your marriage, bro. There's really leeches like that,
I never
man.
corrected her. I never corrected anyone, but this fool didn't give me nothing because I thought that was being disrespectful. But had she known this boy didn't have a pot to piss in or a window thrown out, she'd have never tried to sleep with him or did sleep with him. I don't
So why did you
know what they really did because I never did ask. It was enough was enough for me. But she dropped him like a damn hot potato. I mean, dropped him and wouldn't speak to him. And I've had some. And then he, of course, contacted me. He was like, please, no, that's over with now. And he wanted to reconcile. I was like, no. We're too far in. So this is why I will not date a man.
I'm not gonna lie, he a jackass. He really had the red carpet laid out for him, and considering his life situation, why wouldn't he just stay there, cash in, and live the rest of your days? You know what I'm saying? And get that motherfucking, get that deed or whatever the fuck you trying to get out of it. I mean, this is the game type shit. And as for her, that shit is self-inflicted as fuck. And this goes for anybody. This is what vetting is. You vetted this nigga out, saw 10 billion red flags, and still let him trick you in and get married. The only thing I could possibly think of is that glizzy was so good and so young, it was making you was blind eyeing to it and thought you was gonna get away with it. Look, any cougars watching this, stop being overzealous and be a little more realistic. And if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now that's gonna be the end of the video today, guys. It's relatively long, so I wanted to let it run and not interrupt as much. I'm trying to get better at that because I have so many people complaining. So if you enjoyed that, just let the Big Reaper know. You feel what I'm saying? I won't be posting tomorrow because I got to work some overtime, but I will be back on Saturday, Sunday. You know how it goes. We're really consistent around here. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. That'd be great. It's been your boy, the Big Reaper.
Reaper Online.